Trust and integrity are the cornerstones of any meaningful relationship. Whether personal or professional, romantic or platonic, no relationship can thrive without these essential qualities. In a world that's constantly changing and where loyalty and honesty can often feel like distant ideals, it is more important than ever to understand how to build and sustain trust and integrity in our relationships. But building these virtues is not easy. It requires conscious effort, self-awareness, and, most importantly, a deep commitment to personal growth. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism comes in. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy founded in Greece and later embraced by the Romans, teaches us how to navigate life's difficulties by focusing on what we can control, developing resilience, and maintaining our moral principles. Applying these Stoic principles can dramatically improve the quality of our relationships by fostering trust, strengthening integrity, and enabling us to handle challenges with calm and confidence. In this video, we will explore how trust and integrity play out in relationships and how Stoic principles can help us cultivate these virtues. From personal reflection to communication, from setting boundaries to demonstrating consistency, we'll discuss practical ways to build stronger, healthier, and more fulfilling relationships. Understanding trust and integrity in relationships. In every human interaction, whether personal, professional, or even casual, there is an unspoken understanding that determines the quality and depth of that relationship: trust and integrity. These two virtues are the bedrock upon which all meaningful connections are built. Without trust, a relationship is vulnerable to collapse at the first sign of conflict or adversity. Without integrity, trust cannot exist. Trust and integrity are interdependent, and together they form the foundation of strong, healthy, and lasting relationships. Yet in today's world, maintaining trust and integrity can seem increasingly challenging. We live in an age where immediate gratification, convenience, and self-interest often take precedence over long-term commitments and ethical behavior. People can be quick to cut ties, avoid responsibility, and deceive, sometimes even unintentionally. Rebuilding trust after it's been broken can feel impossible, and the lack of integrity in one's actions can erode even the strongest relationships. This video will dive deeply into how we can build, maintain, and restore trust and integrity in our relationships. Drawing on the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy, we will explore how to cultivate these virtues, not only in ourselves but also in our interactions with others. From romantic relationships to friendships, from business partnerships to familial bonds, trust and integrity can transform the way we connect, communicate, and live alongside others. So what exactly does it mean to build trust and integrity in relationships? And how do Stoic principles guide us in this process? Firstly, defining trust in relationships. Before we can begin to explore how to build trust in relationships, we must first understand what trust really is. Trust is a delicate and multifaceted concept. It's more than just believing someone won't betray us. It encompasses reliability, dependability, honesty, loyalty, and an unspoken assurance that the other person will act in our best interest. The layers of trust. Trust operates on multiple levels, both emotional and practical. On an emotional level, trust allows us to open up to others, to be vulnerable, and to feel safe in sharing our deepest thoughts, fears, and desires. On a practical level, trust is about believing that others will fulfill their commitments and responsibilities, whether it's showing up on time for a meeting or keeping a secret. Both levels are essential for building and maintaining strong relationships. In romantic relationships, trust can mean believing that your partner will remain faithful and committed, even in challenging times. In friendships, it's the assurance that your friend will support you, stand by you, and offer help when you need it most. In professional settings, trust ensures that colleagues will deliver on their promises, work together for mutual success, and handle shared responsibilities with integrity. Without trust, relationships crumble. Trust is the glue that holds people together, allowing them to depend on each other and to navigate life's ups and downs as a team. But, as we'll see, trust is not given freely. It must be earned over time through consistent, reliable, and honest behavior. Trust is earned, not given. One of the most important things to remember about trust is that it's earned, not given. You cannot expect others to trust you just because you want them to. Trust must be cultivated through your actions, words, and behavior. And once trust is lost, it can take a long time to rebuild. Earning trust requires time, patience, and effort. It's not enough to make promises, you must follow through on them. People need to see that you are reliable and that you keep your word, even when it's inconvenient. They need to feel that they can count on you, not just in good times, but especially in difficult ones. The fragility of trust. Trust, however, is fragile. While it can take years to build, it can be shattered in an instant. A single lie, betrayal, or broken promise can destroy the trust that has been carefully nurtured over time. This is why it's so important to protect trust in relationships, to treat it as a precious commodity that requires care and attention. When trust is broken, the effects can be devastating. The person who has been betrayed may feel hurt, angry, and vulnerable. They may become guarded, reluctant to open up, or hesitant to invest emotionally in the relationship again. And the person who broke the trust may feel shame, guilt, or regret, realizing too late the damage they've caused. Rebuilding trust, a difficult but possible journey. Fortunately, trust can be rebuilt, but it requires genuine effort from both parties. Rebuilding trust means demonstrating that the betrayal was an exception, not the norm, and taking consistent steps to prove that it will not happen again. It involves open communication, sincere apologies, and a renewed commitment to honesty, transparency, and dependability. In Stoic philosophy, the emphasis on self-awareness and moral responsibility provides a powerful framework for rebuilding trust. The Stoics teach us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control our own behavior. We can choose to act with virtue, to take responsibility for our mistakes, and to repair the damage we've caused. The process of rebuilding trust requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to be vulnerable again. It requires both parties to work together, to forgive, and to move forward with a renewed sense of commitment to each other. Secondly, understanding integrity in relationships. While trust is built through reliable and honest behavior, integrity is the foundation upon which trust is built. Integrity is about being true to your word, aligning your actions with your values, and behaving in a way that reflects your moral principles. It's about doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. The definition of integrity. Integrity comes from the Latin word integritas, meaning wholeness or completeness. In relationships, integrity means being consistent in your actions, living by your principles, and avoiding deception or manipulation. People with integrity are seen as trustworthy because their actions align with their words. They don't say one thing and do another. They don't make promises they can't keep. They don't betray others for personal gain. Integrity is not just about honesty, it's about moral fortitude. It's about standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult. It's about holding yourself to a high standard of conduct and refusing to compromise your principles for the sake of convenience or short-term gratification. Living with integrity in relationships. In relationships, integrity is about being truthful, reliable, and consistent. It means following through on your commitments, being transparent in your intentions, and owning up to your mistakes. It's about being the same person in private that you are in public, and treating others with respect, kindness, and fairness. People with integrity do not engage in deception, manipulation, or betrayal. They don't lie to their partners, friends, or colleagues, nor do they break promises. They take responsibility for their actions and strive to make amends when they fall short. In relationships, integrity builds trust because others know that they can rely on you to be truthful, fair, and honorable. Stoicism and integrity, a guide to moral living. The Stoics placed great importance on integrity. For them, living a virtuous life was the ultimate goal, and integrity was a key component of that virtue. The Stoics believed that we should always strive to do the right thing, not because of external rewards or recognition, but because it is the right thing to do. Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In relationships, this means that we cannot always control how others behave, but we can control our own actions and reactions. We can choose to act with integrity, even when others do not. We can choose to be honest, fair, and reliable, even when it's difficult. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic philosopher, encouraged us to waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This simple yet profound advice reminds us that integrity is not about talking the talk, it's about walking the walk. It's about living in alignment with our values, regardless of external circumstances. The consequences of lacking integrity. When integrity is lacking in a relationship, trust quickly erodes. People who lie, cheat, or manipulate others may get away with it in the short term, but eventually, their dishonesty catches up with them. Relationships built on deceit are fragile and unstable, and they often collapse under the weight of mistrust and betrayal. A lack of integrity not only damages relationships, but it also damages your own self-esteem and sense of worth. When you compromise your values for the sake of convenience or personal gain, you betray yourself as well as others. Over time, this can lead to feelings of guilt, shame, and disconnection from your own moral compass. Third, the Stoic approach to building trust and integrity. The Stoics offer timeless wisdom for cultivating trust and integrity in our relationships. By focusing on self-awareness, personal responsibility, and moral virtue, the Stoics provide a practical guide for building strong, healthy, and fulfilling connections with others. Self-awareness, understanding your role in relationships. Self-awareness is the first step in building trust and integrity. Before you can cultivate these virtues in your relationships, you must first understand your own behavior, motivations, and values. This requires honest reflection and a willingness to examine your actions and their impact on others. The Stoics believed that self-awareness was essential for living a virtuous life. They encouraged individuals to engage in regular self-reflection, to examine their thoughts and actions, and to identify areas where they could improve. In relationships, this means being honest with yourself about your behavior and how it affects others. Ask yourself, are you consistent in your actions and words? Do you keep your promises even when it's inconvenient? Are you honest in your communication, or do you hide the truth to avoid conflict? Do you take responsibility for your mistakes, or do you shift blame onto others? By cultivating self-awareness, you can identify areas where you may be falling short in your relationships and take steps to improve. Personal responsibility. Owning your actions. The Stoics believed that personal responsibility was central to living a virtuous life. They taught that we are responsible for our own actions, thoughts, and emotions, and that we should not blame others or external circumstances for our behavior. In relationships, this means taking full responsibility for your actions and their consequences. When you make a mistake, own up to it. When you hurt someone, apologize sincerely and take steps to make amends. Don't make excuses or shift blame onto others. Taking personal responsibility is essential for building trust and integrity. It shows that you are accountable for your behavior and that you are committed to doing the right thing, even when it's difficult. Consistency. Aligning your actions with your values. Trust is built through consistent actions over time. People need to see that your words align with your actions, that you are reliable, and that you can be counted on to do what you say you will do. The Stoics believed in the power of consistent right action. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of routine and discipline, knowing that consistency builds character. In relationships, practicing consistency not only builds trust, but also reinforces your own sense of self-discipline. Ask yourself, are you consistent in keeping your promises? Do you follow through on your commitments even when it's inconvenient? Are your actions aligned with your values, or do you compromise your integrity for short-term gain? By practicing consistency, you demonstrate that you are trustworthy and dependable, which strengthens the foundation of your relationships. Honesty, the cornerstone of trust. Honesty is the cornerstone of trust. Without honesty, there can be no trust, and without trust, relationships cannot thrive. Being honest means telling the truth, even when it's uncomfortable or difficult. It means being transparent in your communication and avoiding deceit or manipulation. The Stoics valued truthfulness and clarity in communication. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Be clear in your intentions and honest in your words." Stoicism encourages us to communicate with integrity, choosing our words carefully and ensuring they align with our values. In relationships, honesty builds trust by creating an atmosphere of openness and transparency. When you are honest with others, they feel safe to be honest with you in return. Vulnerability, building deeper connections. While Stoicism emphasizes self-control and resilience, it also recognizes the importance of vulnerability in building deeper connections. Being vulnerable means allowing yourself to be open and honest about your emotions, fears, and insecurities. It means sharing your true self with others, even when it feels uncomfortable or risky. Vulnerability fosters trust because it shows that you are willing to take emotional risks in the relationship. It invites others to do the same, creating a deeper sense of connection and intimacy. In Stoic philosophy, vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. It takes courage to be vulnerable, to admit when you are struggling, and to ask for help. By being vulnerable, you show others that you trust them, which encourages them to trust you in return. Forgiveness, the path to healing. In relationships, forgiveness is essential for rebuilding trust after it has been broken. The Stoics teach us that holding on to resentment and anger only harms ourselves. Instead, we should strive to forgive others and let go of past grievances. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or excusing harmful behavior. It means choosing to let go of the emotional weight of the betrayal and allowing both parties to move forward. By practicing forgiveness, you create an opportunity for healing and rebuilding trust. The Stoics believed that forgiveness was a form of self-discipline. It requires strength of character to forgive those who have wronged us and to offer them a second chance. In relationships, forgiveness is a powerful tool for restoring trust and integrity. Fourth, practical steps for building trust and integrity in relationships. Now that we've explored the Stoic principles of trust and integrity, let's look at some practical steps you can take to cultivate these virtues in your relationships. Be consistent in your actions. Consistency is key to building trust. When your actions align with your words, people learn to rely on you. Trust is built over time, through small acts of reliability. This means showing up when you say you will, keeping your promises, and demonstrating that you are dependable. Practice honest and open communication. Effective communication is essential for building trust. This means being open about your feelings, thoughts, and intentions, and listening actively to the other person. Avoid keeping secrets or hiding important information, as this erodes trust. Be vulnerable and allow others to be vulnerable. Trust deepens when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. This means sharing our true selves, our fears, our dreams, our insecurities, with others. It also means creating a space where the other person feels safe to do the same. Admit mistakes and make amends. When you make a mistake, own up to it immediately. Apologize sincerely and take steps to make amends. Admitting when you are wrong shows humility and integrity. Respect boundaries and honor commitments. Trust requires respecting the other person's boundaries. This means understanding and honoring their emotional, physical, and personal limits. In romantic relationships, it's important to respect your partner's autonomy and never cross lines that make them uncomfortable. Honor your commitments. When you make a promise, keep it. When you commit to something, follow through. People with integrity are reliable and can be counted on to keep their word. This is a powerful way to build trust in relationships, as it shows that you value the other person and respect their time and expectations. Be transparent and honest. Transparency is crucial for maintaining integrity. This means being open about your intentions, your feelings, and your actions. Do not hide important information from the people you care about. Being transparent builds trust and ensures that your relationships are grounded in honesty. Active listening, an essential component of trust. Building trust in any relationship requires effective communication, but effective communication is a two-way street. It's not just about talking, it's also about listening, and not just hearing what the other person is saying, but truly listening. Active listening means being fully present in the conversation, paying attention to the speaker's words, tone, and body language, and responding thoughtfully. When we listen actively, we show that we value the other person's thoughts, feelings, and perspective. This, in turn, fosters trust because the person feels understood and respected. How to practice active listening. To practice active listening, start by setting aside distractions. Whether it's a face-to-face conversation or a phone call, focus entirely on the person speaking. Don't interrupt, and don't let your mind wander to what you'll say next. Instead, listen with the intent to understand. Reflect back what you've heard by summarizing the main points or asking clarifying questions. For example, you might say, "It sounds like you're feeling frustrated because of X. Is that right?" This shows the speaker that you're not only paying attention but also trying to understand their perspective. Active listening builds trust by showing that you care about what the other person has to say. When people feel heard, they are more likely to trust you with their thoughts, feelings, and concerns. Stoic perspective on listening. The Stoics emphasize the importance of clear communication, and active listening is part of that. Stoicism teaches us to approach conversations with humility and an open mind. As Marcus Aurelius advised, it is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. This means that we should listen to others without judgment, seeking to understand their perspective, even if we don't immediately agree with it. By practicing active listening, we cultivate patience and empathy, which are key to building trust and integrity in our relationships. Setting clear boundaries and respecting others' boundaries. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationships. They define what is acceptable behavior and what is not. Without clear boundaries, misunderstandings, resentment, and conflicts can arise. Setting and respecting boundaries is an act of integrity, as it shows that we value both our own needs and the needs of others. Understanding boundaries in relationships. In romantic relationships, boundaries may include expectations around communication, personal space, or emotional availability. In friendships, boundaries might involve how much time you spend together or what topics are off-limits for discussion. In professional relationships, boundaries may include expectations around workload, respect, and communication. Setting boundaries requires self-awareness and self-respect. You must first understand your own needs and limits before you can communicate them to others. At the same time, respecting others' boundaries shows that you value their autonomy and personal space. How to set and maintain boundaries. Setting boundaries begins with open and honest communication. Be clear about your expectations and limits, and encourage others to do the same. For example, if you need time alone to recharge, communicate that to your partner or friends. If certain topics make you uncomfortable, let others know in a respectful way. Once boundaries are established, it's important to maintain them consistently. This means reinforcing your boundaries when necessary and respecting others' boundaries without judgment or resentment. Boundaries are not walls meant to keep people out. They are guidelines that help ensure mutual respect and understanding in relationships. By setting and respecting boundaries, you create an environment of trust and safety where both parties feel valued and respected. Stoic perspective on boundaries. The Stoics believed that it was essential to understand and control what is within our power, while accepting what is outside our control. This philosophy can be applied to boundaries. We are responsible for setting and maintaining our own boundaries, but we cannot control how others react to them. As Epictetus reminds us, some things are within our control, and some things are not. In relationships, it's important to recognize that while we can set boundaries, we cannot force others to respect them. However, By consistently reinforcing our boundaries with kindness and firmness, we create an environment where mutual respect and trust can thrive. Practicing empathy and compassion. Empathy and compassion are essential for building trust in relationships. Empathy allows us to understand and share the feelings of others, while compassion motivates us to help alleviate their suffering. When we approach relationships with empathy and compassion, we create an atmosphere of trust, safety, and emotional support. The role of empathy in building trust. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and understand their perspective. It involves listening without judgment, validating their emotions, and offering support when needed. Empathy fosters trust because it shows that you care about the other person's emotional experience. For example, if your partner is going through a difficult time, practicing empathy means acknowledging their pain and offering emotional support, rather than trying to fix the problem or dismiss their feelings. When people feel that their emotions are understood and validated, they are more likely to trust you. Empathy also helps resolve conflicts in relationships. When disagreements arise, practicing empathy allows you to see the situation from the other person's perspective, which can help de-escalate tensions and foster mutual understanding. Cultivating compassion in relationships. Compassion goes beyond empathy. It's the desire to alleviate the suffering of others. In relationships, compassion means being there for the people you care about during difficult times and offering kindness and support without expecting anything in return. Practicing compassion doesn't mean fixing all of someone's problems, but rather showing that you care and are willing to stand by them as they navigate their challenges. Compassion strengthens trust because it demonstrates that you are invested in the other person's well-being. Stoic perspective on empathy and compassion. The Stoics taught that all human beings are connected through a shared rationality and common humanity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "We are all fellow citizens of the universe." This belief in the interconnectedness of all people naturally leads to the practice of empathy and compassion. Stoicism encourages us to cultivate empathy by recognizing that others, like us, face challenges, suffering, and hardships. When we see others through this lens, we are more likely to approach them with kindness and understanding. By practicing empathy and compassion, we foster trust and integrity in our relationships. We show others that we are not only reliable and honest, but also caring and supportive. Developing emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. In relationships, emotional intelligence is critical for building trust and maintaining integrity because it allows us to navigate conflicts, communicate effectively, and respond to emotional challenges with grace and understanding. The components of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is made up of 4 key components: self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills. Self-awareness. Understanding your own emotions and how they affect your behavior. Self-regulation. The ability to control impulsive feelings and behaviors and manage your emotions in a healthy way. Empathy. Recognizing and understanding the emotions of others. Social skills. The ability to manage relationships, communicate effectively, and navigate social dynamics with ease. Each of these components plays a vital role in building trust in relationships. When we are emotionally intelligent, we are better equipped to handle conflicts, communicate openly, and offer support when needed. How to develop emotional intelligence in relationships. Developing emotional intelligence takes practice and self-reflection. Start by becoming more aware of your emotions and how they influence your behavior. Pay attention to how you react in different situations and consider whether your reactions align with your values. Practice self-regulation by taking a pause before reacting to emotional triggers. For example, if you're feeling angry or frustrated, take a moment to breathe and collect your thoughts before responding. This helps prevent impulsive reactions that could harm the relationship. Cultivate empathy by actively listening to others and trying to understand their perspective. And develop your social skills by working on effective communication, conflict resolution, and collaboration in your relationships. Stoic perspective on emotional intelligence. The Stoics placed great emphasis on controlling our emotions and responding to challenges with calmness and rationality. They believed that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we react. As Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Stoicism encourages us to practice self-awareness and self-regulation by staying present in the moment and not allowing our emotions to dictate our actions. By developing emotional intelligence, we can approach our relationships with greater patience, understanding, and integrity, apologizing sincerely and making amends. At some point in every relationship, mistakes will be made. Whether it's a misunderstanding, a broken promise, or an unintentional hurt, the ability to apologize sincerely and make amends is crucial for maintaining trust and integrity.
The power of a sincere apology.
A sincere apology is more than just saying, "I'm sorry." It involves acknowledging the harm you've caused, taking responsibility for your actions, and expressing genuine remorse. A true apology also includes a commitment to change behavior moving forward. Apologizing sincerely demonstrates integrity because it shows that you are willing to take ownership of your mistakes and make things right. It fosters trust because it reassures the other person that you value the relationship and are committed to repairing the damage. Making amends. In addition to apologizing, it's important to make amends. This means taking concrete steps to rectify the situation and prevent similar mistakes in the future. Making amends could involve offering restitution, changing behavior, or simply being more mindful in your interactions. For example, if you've hurt a friend by breaking a promise, making amends might involve not only apologizing, but also being more reliable and consistent in your commitments moving forward. By making amends, you show that you are committed to rebuilding trust and restoring the relationship. Stoic perspective on apology and accountability. The Stoics believed in taking full responsibility for our actions. They taught that when we make mistakes, we must own up to them and take steps to correct them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This philosophy encourages us to act with integrity at all times, and when we fall short, to make amends. By apologizing sincerely and making amends, we demonstrate accountability and integrity, which are essential for building trust in relationships. Fifth, rebuilding trust after it has been broken. Trust is the foundation of all healthy relationships, but even in the strongest relationships, trust can be broken. Whether it's due to dishonesty, betrayal, or a misunderstanding, the process of rebuilding trust requires effort, patience, and a commitment to healing. Acknowledging the breach of trust. The first step in rebuilding trust is acknowledging that it has been broken. Whether you were the one who broke the trust or you are on the receiving end, it's important to openly acknowledge what happened. This requires honesty, vulnerability, and a willingness to take responsibility for the role you played in the situation. For the person who broke the trust, acknowledging the breach means admitting to the mistake, offering a sincere apology, and taking responsibility for the harm caused. For the person who has been betrayed, acknowledging the breach means expressing how the betrayal has impacted them emotionally and mentally. By acknowledging the breach of trust, both parties create a foundation for healing and moving forward. Communicating openly and honestly. Rebuilding trust requires open and honest communication. Both parties must be willing to engage in difficult conversations about what happened, how it affected the relationship, and what steps can be taken to rebuild trust. During these conversations, it's important to listen actively and empathetically. Avoid defensiveness or dismissing the other person's feelings. Instead, focus on understanding each other's perspectives and working together to find a solution. Open communication fosters transparency, which is essential for rebuilding trust. It also allows both parties to express their needs and expectations moving forward, which can help prevent similar breaches of trust in the future. Trust and integrity are the pillars of any successful and meaningful relationship. Whether it's in our personal lives, professional environments, or social circles, cultivating these virtues requires dedication, self-awareness, and consistent right action. At the heart of every strong relationship is the understanding that trust is earned through transparency, reliability, and honesty, while integrity requires aligning our actions with our values and principles. Through Stoic Principles, we learn that building trust and living with integrity is a lifelong journey that requires reflection, effort, and perseverance. By practicing the principles we've discussed, such as open communication, active listening, setting boundaries, and making amends when necessary, we can cultivate relationships that are not only strong and fulfilling but also rooted in mutual respect and shared values. Take a moment to reflect on your current relationships. Are you building trust through your actions and words? Are you living with integrity, staying true to your values, and consistently acting with honesty and fairness? If you find areas for improvement, begin by applying the Stoic principles of responsibility, self-awareness, and accountability. Start small by practicing active listening, setting clear boundaries, or offering a sincere apology where needed. Over time, you will see the profound impact that trust and integrity can have on the depth and quality of your relationships. Make a commitment today to build trust and integrity in all areas of your life. By doing so, you will not only strengthen your relationships, but also live a life of greater meaning, purpose, and virtue. Finally, if you're ready to dive deeper into personal development and explore more ways to improve your relationships, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button if you found this video helpful, and don't forget to share it with someone who could benefit from these insights. Join our community as we explore more topics that will empower you to lead a life of virtue, strength, and purpose. Together, we can cultivate trust, integrity, and deeper connections with those around us. Remember, it's never too late to rebuild trust, strengthen integrity, and create the fulfilling relationships you deserve. Start today, and let Stoic wisdom guide your way. Thank you for watching. Stay strong, stay true, and always choose integrity.